To a story we've been following that's getting a lot of national attention right now. A new bombshell report out of the United Kingdom on grooming gangs involving rape and child exploitation, revealed from one member of parliament.
This report is over 200 pages long, and it goes into the root causes of probably the most extensive, widespread scandal that has ever beset Britain. And it involves failure by the British establishment. And by the British establishment, I mean, obviously, government ministers, the civil service, local government, social services, the police.
The biggest scandal in UK history. Now, just think about that. According to the 200-page report, it reveals the mass rape of up to 250,000 working-class white girls by gangs of primarily Pakistani Muslim men. The media, local police, not reporting on it. Rupert Lowe is the member of parliament in the United Kingdom, and you just saw him in that video, and he is the one who made sure that that report was researched and written and distributed. Thank you so much for being with us.
Hello, Edie. How are you?
Wonderful. You were the head of this report. First, tell me what was the most compelling thing that you found out?
Well, it's not just me. It's a whole team of people. And I should pay credit to Sammy Woodhouse and Marlon West and Natalie and the whole team of people, and a lot of the people who actually edited and produced the report, which took us a long time. It's quite extraordinary that this has been going on for 30, 40, probably 50 years. And the British establishment has done absolutely nothing about it. And you may have noticed that the BBC, Sky News, a lot of the main broadcasters, the Daily Telegraph, have done very little to actually highlight this report. I think it's had more coverage in America than it has in the UK.
And that's really part of the biggest problem, isn't it? Because you uncover in this what appears to say that they didn't cover these, they didn't listen to the victims, they didn't go after suspects because they feared being called racist.
Well, I think it started a long time ago, Edie, and I think what's happened is it's gathered momentum, rather like a snowball going down the hill. And it's got to the stage now where to admit that it's been happening on such a sort of systemic scale across the country. And I think we've been very conservative with what we've actually identified and the number of girls that we think have been groomed and raped and abused. So I think it goes far deeper than we've probably put forward. But it is quite extraordinary that the Labour Party in particular has put power ahead of principle, that they have allowed basically the mass rape of these most vulnerable girls within our society by largely Pakistani Muslims. There are some Somalis, there are some Afghanis, there are some Eritreans, there are some Bangladeshis. But on the whole, it's Pakistani Muslim men, and they're very often from the same part of Pakistan, from a place called Mirpur. And as we go into in the report, a lot of this goes to the cultural difference between a Christian culture and a Muslim culture. I think we had this post-war plan, which probably emanated from Europe, where they're fixated with open borders and mass immigration, which has been happening, and multiculturalism. And I think they know that multiculturalism is not and has not worked. And to some extent, you've seen it in the US as well.
Yeah, we've seen this report, though. I mean, it details gruesome things done to these victims. One occasion you uncovered where a police officer returned someone named Fiona to the house where the abuse was occurring and told the men to, quote, have fun with her. We all know here in America who Jeffrey Epstein is. There is a lot of conspiracy around that folks talk about. But when you read something like that, why haven't the authorities, why hasn't the parliament done something more? Why aren't they helping save these young girls?
Well, I think, again, it goes, as you said earlier, to this fear of being called racist. And that now has run through British society. A lot of it you have to lay at the door of Tony Blair and his parliament from 97 onwards, where they passed some very malign legislation. They also undermined our judiciary, who are also implicit in this, or complicit, I should say. So I think I think it's this fear of being called racist, it's this fear of having to accept that the multiculturalism that they fated as the way forward, which I personally think was part of the post-war reconstruction of Europe, where I think they wanted to destroy the nation state and create a sort of super state, which didn't have, if you like, the borders and the pride of a nation state. Now, I love a sort of cooperating nation states rather than global superpowers, where I think, you know, if you try and break down borders and you try and break down cultures, you always get injustice. So I think, for me, it's like trying to mix oil and water, as I think I said in one of my interviews.
Yeah.
But I honestly think it's such a huge evil that it's very difficult now for all of those who've been playing a part in this for so long to actually hold their hands up and own up to it.
Mr. Lowe, we are starting to feel that here in the United States as well, and I think that that's what's so beneficial for us, is to see what happens when, you know, you want to be multicultural and accepting and open, but at the same time, there are certain cultures that haven't traditionally seemed to blend in with what we have, what we cherished, and it's really something I think that we can learn from a lot, and I certainly appreciate you taking the time.
I think you can learn a lot from it. And I think, you know, I have no problem with targeted immigration if people come to other people's countries and they accept the fact they've got to speak English, they've got to respect the Christian culture, they've got to integrate, they've got to accept the laws and the rules and the regulations of and the culture of that country.
That's what we're not getting here, though. We're getting the...
Well, you don't get that in places like, you know, Minnesota, where I think you've got a very big, I understand, Somali
yes, we do.
Subset.
I'm fascinated by this report, and I think that we in America have a lot to learn from this about how to try to integrate in our society, but do it in a way that makes sense and respects our culture. Rupert Lowe, thank you so much for spending time with us.
My pleasure. My pleasure, Edie.
Thank you.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.